Is Murphy's Law a useful philosophy for Christians to use in their professional lives? It states if something can go wrong, it will go wrong. Sounds pretty pessimistic. But is it? Keep watching, and I'll share the origins of this famous adage and explain how it might serve you well in your own career. Hi, my name is Shawn Sommerkamp, and this is Motivationeer Christian Coaching. I post 2 videos a week, so please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you can be reminded when I do. Please also consider becoming a member at Motivationeer.com. Your membership really supports this channel. Thank you. A special shout out to Sam Santiago for the content idea of this video. Thank you, Sam. I'm also going to be taking content that I researched from a website called Quartz and a contributing reporter named Corinne Poutril. Also, some of the content I have, I found on a Wikipedia site, multiple pages devoted to this topic, and quite a few little short YouTube videos just to confirm some of what I found. As it turns out, there is a real guy named Edward A. Murphy. He was an engineer in the military who worked on a project at Edwards Air Force Base in the 1940s called the MX-981. During work on this project, Murphy actually did blame the failure of some of the equipment on errors that his subordinates made, stating the following, supposedly, quote, "If there's any way they can do it wrong, they will." You have to admit, being a leader and stating something so crass about your employees is not really a great way to lead. Where the famous quote comes into play is from the flight surgeon that was also part of this experiment at Edwards Air Force Base, named Dr. John Stapp. He was not only the flight surgeon, he was a U.S. colonel, and he was the test subject on the MX-981 project. He reportedly coined the term to get all the other engineers working on this project to constantly assess and mitigate all possible risks to the project, because he was the test subject sitting in it. If you've never heard of the MX-981, go check it out. It is kind of interesting. Stapp coined the term Murphy's Law to keep those engineers really motivated to excel, knowing that the greater the complexity of a project, the greater the number of possible failure points, weak points in the project. I love this concept. It's a way for us to predict what could possibly fail and then do our best to prevent it from failing, or at least to prepare for the failure in case it does happen. Yes, Murphy is the one who stated it as a negative complaint, but Stapp turned it into a quality control mindset. And here's what's interesting that I found in my research. This concept goes way back, long before Murphy ever said it in the 40s. In fact, it goes all the way back to the Stoics in the 2nd and 3rd century before Christ. It's a philosophy developed by the Stoics known as Premeditatio Malorum, or, when translated, the Premeditation of Evils. It's the process of thinking through things that might go awry so that they could be prepared to address them or deal with them in case they did happen. As someone who comes from the project management world, I spent so many years of my life in professional services, leading project management teams, being a project manager. I know this is a very useful exercise to do when taking over a project. That means we assume things can go wrong and will go wrong and deliberately create what we call in the business a risk register. We get all the experts around the table that know their particular area of expertise and start to flesh out what might possibly go wrong, and we document them. And then we start to plan together how we could perhaps lower the risk of them happening. We know it's impossible to remove 100% of all risk. If we could, we would all be immortal, because all of us face the risk of dying. In fact, we will all die. Instead, let's embrace large projects with this premeditation of what could go wrong and prepare a way to deal with it. I believe we can also find this in God's Word. It's in a place where we see the exact same verse, word for word, quoted 2 different times in the book of Proverbs. Proverbs chapter 22, verse 3, and Proverbs chapter 27, verse 12, which both say, "The prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty." Man, that's a heavy truth. We know that risk exists. Let's take the time to take cover, to account for the risk preemptively, And by doing so, we minimize the effects it will have on us. When we don't, we will pay for it. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for 2 new videos each week. Tell me in the comments below about your career situation, and I'll make a video for you with a shout out. You can also become a member at Motivationeer.com. Your career is not just a way to make a living, it's a way to transform the world.